let me show you how powerful Sourcery really is when it's used for your architecture design. So I have an application here. You see Xcode screen, simulator, and content file. This application idea is that you write markdown and rich tags, and you can get native components out of it. The help component is the only one I'm showing. This has real-time preview, so if I just save this file, it's going to disappear. Most of the stuff I do is pretty much real-time. So what help does is basically lists all of the components in the system with all of the information that you can pass into them. So let's add a new component. Let's say we want to add SF symbols component. So let's start. So I'm going to add symbol component. Each component has a kind, which is the name of the tag. For us, it will be symbol, and a description. And displays SF symbol. Pretty simple. Every component should have a payload. That payload can contain any kind of data. Let's say it just contains name for now. Ignore the errors. I code faster than Xcode does. And payload has to be stored somewhere. And the last thing we need to do is create a view. So let's create a view, and let's use the name as a symbol. So image, system name, and payload.name. And let's rebuild this project and see what happens. Okay, so symbol is now able in help. You can see what kind of data it accepts. So let's try to use it, right? So symbol.name, and what's the name? Let's see, where are SF symbols? Let's use this one. And it's available. All right, that's cool. What about if we wanted to have a font size? So let's add a font size to the payload, and let's default it to 64. Well, actually, we don't need to make it optional because Sourcery will generate the code for us to make it optional. Fonts system and size payload font size. Okay, let's see what happens. We didn't add it there. We're just going to rebuild the project. The font size is now using the default, even though we didn't provide it. What happens when we provide it? It works. Pretty cool, right? Okay, so let's say in our architecture we want to have styling for the component. Swift UI style, so environment driven. So let's just add a struct called style. Let's provide a default font size and use 128. Let's remove this optionality. Let's leave it to the users of our architecture or library. And what we want to do is we want to use this environment that is going to get created. So for that, we need to wrap Swift UI in view implementation in a struct. That's just Swift UI requirement. So I'm going to use symbol component style for style, and basically I'm just going to return that. So view implementation, payload, and that's pretty much it. I'm going to reformat this code so it looks nicer, and I'm going to rebuild it so Sourcery can do its magic. It worked. Okay, so if I can build it now, the font size still works. But what I can do is I can go to the list view, and I can add this styling symbol, and let's change it to 32 so it's small. And let's remove this and rebuild this project. Let's make it even smaller, rebuild, and you can see everything works. So what happens here? Sourcery reads this file, automatically registers every component in the system, automatically generates documentation for you, so it knows what kind of fields you have. It automatically creates environment styling for your objects. If they provide a struct, it's as simple as adding a struct, and it's immediately available. You can see the types here. It also generates the parsing code, so you can provide tags in this format. Pretty much does everything for you. The developer, the only thing the developer has to do is create this file and fill it in. No core parsing, nothing else has to be changed. You just rebuild the project and it works. Sounds magical, right? That's why it's called Sourcery.